Join me, Buck Woody, and Marisa Matthews as we guide you through the Learning T-SQL modules on Microsoft Learn.
I've really enjoyed learning about how to work with data in a database and how Transact-SQL works, but one thing we haven't covered very much is how data actually gets into those database tables.
Yeah, we've been using the insert statement a few times to get database in the tables, but I really didn't explain it. It's pretty straightforward to do this with an insert operation. It has this format, so this isn't actually how you do it. This is the format. You start with insert into, and then you just give it the table name. And then you tell it the column that you would like to insert. And I've got 3 little dots there to let you know more columns could come after there if that's the case. So you can actually specify any order as long as the values you're putting in are exactly that same order. And then you tell it, this is where it goes. This is what I want. And if it's text value, you put the ticks around it. If it's a date or time value, you put the ticks around it. If it's a numeric value or a Boolean, you don't put the ticks around those. And then you see there's a comma here, so I can just keep entering value after value after value after value is the way that works. So I'll tell you what, let's add another session using what you just saw. Put a new session in for me called Working with Transact-SQL.
Okay, so would it be insert into sessions, parentheses, session ID, comma, name, comma, length, comma, technologies, close parentheses, value, parentheses, 3, comma, single quote, working with Transact-SQL, single quote, comma, 20, comma, single quote, programming, single quote, semicolon.
Yep, just have to add that last parenthesis there, and that's exactly. So let's see, we'll go see the sessions. Remember, by the way, let's just do this first. Let's just prove we did it. Select everything from sessions, and we'll just run that one. Remember, I said you can highlight things in this particular tool, and when you run it, it will only run that highlight. So we have 2 values here, so we'll just cut that out, and we'll run this, exactly what you just said, which is session ID, name, length, technology. Let's see if that's going to work. If we try to do that, we get a fail to execute query. It's pretty close, but we don't include the session ID because we used a special keyword when we created that table called identity. Now, this is kind of like a function that just automatically adds the next number for us. So we don't need to include the column name or the value. The system's just going to do it for us. And it'll give us a unique number every time, which uniquely identifies that row. Every row will have a different number, which is what you need to have for a primary key. We could use another number, by the way, for a primary key, but then we need to figure out how to make it unique every single time. There are other ways to automatically enter values in a field, such as sequence and a few others. You can read about those in the documentation. So let's go back to our screen. Let's fix that. So we'll get rid of the session ID. We just don't even need to include it. Remember, I said you just identify the columns you want, and we'll just get rid of the number 3 because it will figure out what number goes into. Now let's see if it works, and it does. Let's prove that it worked. Let's go get our sessions, and instead of 2 now, we should have 3 sessions, and we do. By the way, you can also use your select subquery skills to add data to a value. We did that when we covered the joins for that joining entities earlier.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah. And there's another cool statement that you can do to make a brand new table out as a result of a query. Do you remember that right outer join you created earlier? You can make a brand new table with that query by simply adding the into word and a new table name. So you would do select of whatever you wanted into, let's say, my new table from whatever you wanted to select from. It would automatically create the table and fill it with the data that you put in the select statement.
Cool. So how do we change data? Like one of my conferences changed the type. They're known to data and AI. How do we look into that?
Okay, so once the data is entered, we can always change it with an update statement. So let's replace the type of the conference for the Azure Data Conference. So let's go over here and let's go get the Azure Data Conference first. Select star, remember that, from events, events. There we go. And let's go see what's already in there. We'll run that. And we're saying we want all the column names come back. So whenever we do star like this, all of the column names are going to come back. So let's see. That one's currently at SQL Bits is at data, and they want to be taken to data and AI. Okay, so let's make that change. So we're going to set that set type equals Azure Data and AI. And then we're going to change the conference name, and then I'll explain what this looks like. SQL Bits 2023. All right. So the first part of that statement is the update statement. And we're going to update a table, a whole table. And we're going to change the type in that column to data and AI, but we add a where clause on it. So now when we do this and we run it, we get back and it comes back to one row. Let's go select everything from events again, select star from events. There we go. And let's take a look at what comes back now. And now both of them are at data and I. By the way, without the where clause, every conference becomes data and AI. So it's a good idea to check that statement before you run it, because the update statement sets something and it runs that way every time.
You sound like you know that because you've done that before.
No comment.
Okay, so what about deleting data?
Okay. If you want to delete data, you have a couple of ways to do it. You may want to be able to delete the entire table, and that's a statement called truncate. You simply say truncate table, table name. Gets rid of all the data and leaves the table alone. One interesting thing is the identity that we had will keep going. So if it had 10 values and you truncate the table and you do a new insert, the new value for the ID would be 11, which is okay. You just want it to be unique. You don't care what it is, but you just kind of need to know that. Now the data is gone. When you truncate a table, it's gone. Never to return. There's no trash can. There's no recycle bin. You have to have backups of a database. There's no way to undo something. But if you want to do just a single row, it's a bit like the update statement. I'm going to go ahead here and I'm going to delete one row. Let's pop over here. So if I wanted to delete the event ID of SQL Bits, I would say delete from events, where event ID equals 1. Notice, by the way, that I don't specify a column. Delete works on rows. Update works on a column. Delete works on rows. So if you do want to delete a value from a column, just use the update command and set it to null or something like that if the column allows null values.
Okay, so I mean, that seems pretty straightforward. Now I can think of situations where I want to combine data from tables, like keep them up to date with each other, or just from one or the other.
Okay, yeah, you can do that. It's a bit more involved, and it uses the keyword merge. It isn't that hard to understand. It's just important to pay attention to the order and the conditions you want. Merge compares two tables and then updates the second one to look like the first or other kinds of things. So it works kind of like this. Here, let me paste in sort of the description right inside of our query tool, and then I'll show you an example query. When the source data has matching rows in the target table, it can update the data in the target table. So if you wanted to make all the names the same and so on, you could. When the source data has no match in the target, it can put the data in the target table. Like, let's say there wasn't a value and now there is. You want to update that. When the target data has no match in the source, it can delete the target data. So there's reasons for all this. Now I'm going to show you a very complicated set of syntax here, and I'll walk you through it. It's okay, but we don't have a table that does exactly the same thing. So let me show you the sort of the syntax here. So here's this way it looks. Merge into, and if we've got a schema, we're using our schema name, table name as target table, using select as the source table, on the target table, column 1 equals the source table, column 1. When it matches for that value, then update these things. If it's not matched on that value, then insert these things, the values of this thing. And remember, we can use subqueries in here. And when it's not matched by the source, then delete it.
So could you use one of those kind of worked out?
You want to see an example?
Yeah. Can you just show me? I mean, if we don't have enough data in our databases yet, can you come up with another example?
Yeah, I've got one here I did elsewhere. So let me show you an example. So we've got a sales invoice, right? And we've got a sales invoice staging table. We've got 2 tables, one that's the actual invoice and one where we haven't approved, let's say, yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to merge into the table we want to update. That's my target, using the source table of the staging table where the salespeople have been putting their orders in. And we're just going to give that, we've got some aliases here. On I sales order data, that's this. Sales order data S, that's this. So we're just matching them up so they make sure that the keys are the same. If those things are matched, if I've got a row that's got an ID of 1 and the other one's got an ID of 1, then make the customer ID the customer ID. Update the order date. This is kind of interesting. That's another function. And what it does is, believe it or not, it gets the date. So it's just putting the current date in there. So that way we would know the order date that it really went in as. It goes and gets the purchase order number from the staging table and makes it equal to the purchase order of the target table. And it makes the total due the total due. Perhaps we didn't have these values. We had just started a purchase order and the system starts it, but it didn't have these values yet. If it isn't matched, let's say the person decides not to buy. So we would say, you know what, just insert that data and put it inside in the total due and so on. And you would see the result. You'd see the result sort of there. You've learned a lot in the last few lessons. There's always more to learn. We haven't studied working with views yet, which are just T-SQL statements, by the way, that return what looks like a table. There's also stored procedures, which is T-SQL statements that can insert, update, delete, modify data, any kind of programmatic work, and take in and return variables. But you're going to get hooked. And you're going to practice more. And over time, you're going to be amazed at what the power of just building one statement on top of another can do.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've convinced me. I'm going to try and see if I can replace my event spreadsheet now that you've helped me create a database. And because we've walked through these modules together, I'm confident I can complete the learning module and even earn myself a new badge. Buck, thank you so much for walking me through this. I've learned a lot. I know so many others have too. Until next time.
Bye, everyone.